Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the response to my Mounjaro video. My response to your response. What's that? Is that a response squared? I'm not sure. I have been astonished by how this video blew up. And I mean blew up from my channel's point of view. You know, we're not into millions of views. We're not, you know, we haven't gone viral. But I did get way more views on this video in the first 24 hours than my average videos get. And I don't know how many of those were regular subscribers and how many were just random people who've seen this, you know, from the suggested page or whatever. I don't know. There was a lot more views than my average videos get, and there were a lot of comments, a huge number of comments and a lot of questions. And what I had said in the original video was that I would respond to any questions you had. I've decided to do a response video because I feel like I can maybe articulate better, judging by how I've fumbled my way through this opening. Maybe I can't, but I feel like I can make myself more clear in words than I can in type. So I've gone all the way to the bottom of the comments and I'm going to gradually work my way up, and this could be a long video. I'm not going to reply to all of the comments individually because some of them are well-wishers or people sharing their... I'm only going to respond to the people who've kind of asked a question or raised an issue. So I do want to say that I appreciate all of the comments. I appreciate all of the views. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the overwhelmingly positive response that I've had from you guys. When I put the video out, I was a little bit apprehensive about what the response would be, and I've been so pleasantly subscribed. I've been so pleasantly surprised. You guys have been incredibly supportive, and I really appreciate that. A great many people have said you didn't have to tell us this, you don't have to tell us anything, and I know that. I know I didn't have to. I just felt that I was ready to. And the fact that it's been 6 months since I began Mounjaro shows you how long it was before I was ready to talk about it. But I haven't felt obliged to do it. I just felt that I was ready. So thank you so much for those of you who said you didn't need to tell us this, but, you know, I appreciate you watching anyway. And let's have a look at some of the questions. And what I'm going to try and do is, while I'm looking at them, try and get a screenshot so that I can put them on the screen as well. Also, so many of you who are also using Mounjaro. It's heartening to know that there are plenty of us who are getting good results from this. Okay, so the first question that I've come across, working from the bottom up, so the oldest comments to the newest, was from Amanda Neal 1556. And she says, good for you, girl. You do what you feel happy about. It's working despite that setback, which could have been food poisoning from the curry. As an overweight person, I totally get where you are coming from. Question, did you have to declare any underlying health conditions before you could purchase this diet aid? I wish I could try it, but I doubt my doctors would let me due to my illnesses. The first thing I want to say is that this is my massive disclaimer that I am not medically trained in any way. I am only speaking from my own personal experience, and that what is right for me may not be right for you. And certainly anyone who has any kind of underlying health conditions should definitely consult perhaps their own doctor if it's an ongoing thing before they go any further. But also, this is a prescribed medication. I didn't purchase it. You do have to pay, but you're paying to have it prescribed to you. So you can't just pop on a website and buy it. You do have to answer a health questionnaire. You definitely should declare any underlying health conditions. There's sections for you to do that. And if they have any qualms about prescribing it, they'll contact you to discuss those with you further. They don't just bosh it out, or at least my second supplier don't. My first supplier, as I said, they didn't chase me for my evidence of my weight, and so therefore in my first video I wasn't going to say their name because I felt like I was perhaps going to open me up to a lot of people going, well, I'm with them and it's been fine. But I wasn't that impressed. So my first supplier was Zava, Z-A-V-A, and whilst there was nothing wrong with their actual supply chain and so on and so forth, I don't think necessarily that they operated with full integrity, because they never did check my weight. I never sent in the photographs. I didn't deliberately mislead them. I filled in the online application for the private prescription, and it said, oh, you need to send these photos. And I thought, okay, I'll get Natalie to take these photos later today. And then within probably a couple of hours, I got a dispatch email saying your medication has been dispatched. So I was like, oh, okay, they don't need photographs after all then. And didn't think much more of it. And then after a while, I was like, they should have forced that. They should have pushed that issue. So I wasn't overly impressed with them. And also, when I did have issues, as I said, I contacted them and it took a long time to hear back. And another friend has said the same thing, that she was very unwell, and when she contacted them with an urgent query, they didn't get back to her for 2 weeks. So they are the ones that I don't necessarily think that I would recommend for people to go with. But anyone that you get this private prescription from, you will need to declare any underlying health conditions. And certainly if you have ongoing health issues, I would definitely recommend that you consult your doctor first and talk it over with them. And I think you may find that some doctors are pro and some doctors are against, and for some people it's going to be the luck of the draw whether your doctor will or will not countenance the idea. I think some doctors are very against it kind of on principle, and some are against it through lack of knowledge. But certainly underlying health conditions, they must be discussed. You can't just randomly start taking this. Okay, so this next one, the username is Semperputus. And they say, I am so stuck. I was exactly like you. I did so well on calorie counting and now I cannot for the life of me get back, and I've been beating myself up and I've had no serious advice from any medical people at all. Just lose weight and that will help with all my other problems. I've never heard of Mounjaro and I would love to know more. Any advice or pointer to help I would appreciate. I'm so alone and feeling like it's so scary and depressing. I did it myself before. What's wrong with me now? Why am I so useless? And I need to face up and be brave, but I'm quite at a loss of where to go. Firstly, you're not useless. This is hard. If this was easy, there'd be no fat people in the world. If this was as easy as some people think, there'd be no fat people. I think there's a huge number of people who don't struggle with their weight, and therefore they cannot fathom what it's like. In the same way that a white person can never really understand the things that a black person has to face, a naturally thin person can never really understand what a fat person faces. You cannot just put yourself into somebody else's shoes if you have absolutely no experience of what they deal with. You're not useless. You're just struggling at something, and we all struggle at things. We all struggle at things all the time. Some of us are good at stuff and some of us aren't. And again, some people who aren't naturally thin are very successful at weight loss because they are very good at maintaining a calorie deficit, or they're very single-minded about things, and I was very single-minded for a long time, and then I lost it and I couldn't get it back. So I do know exactly how you feel, and I know the frustrations of going, why can't I do this? I've done this so many times. I've done this before. I know I can do this. Why can't I do it again? And I can't answer that for you. When it comes to advice or pointing to help, unfortunately, in the UK, the NHS is so strained that the weight loss referral system is operating on a massive backlog. So for the people who said to me all the way through, oh, you should go to your doctor and get some help, you should go to your doctor and get some help. I went to my doctor. I was told that I'd be put onto the tier 3 weight loss referral system, that there was a 2-year waiting list. After a year, my doctor rang me and said, just thought I'd see if you lost any weight, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I'm still waiting for this referral. She said, oh yeah, you're still on this. That's 3 years ago and I've still heard nothing. Nothing at all. I should imagine I've dropped off that list. I should imagine I've been forgotten about. There isn't a lot of support for weight loss because it is something that without willpower or an additional aid is very difficult. So please don't feel alone. Please don't feel depressed, and please don't feel useless. You are none of those things. You are part of a huge group of people who are struggling the same way you are, and you are certainly not useless. You may be depressed. I can't tell you you're not depressed, but please don't feel that this is all your fault, because it's not. When it comes to advice or pointing to help, there is a huge amount about Mounjaro online. There's a huge amount of resources. And all I can suggest really is do a lot of reading, do a lot of research. There are good stories and bad stories out there, so familiarise yourself with all of them. And I read a lot about this before I decided to do it. I didn't just go, I'll have a go at that. I don't want to have physical surgery. I know that. Firstly, I can't afford to pay for it myself. It's a huge amount of money and I don't have that money. And secondly, at my age, I don't want to get the NHS to pay for that either. I feel like the NHS funding can be more usefully used on someone who's got a lot more life ahead of them. Do you know what I mean? I'm 51. I am entering the third and final trimester of my life, aren't I? And there's a lot of people with a lot more years ahead of them who could benefit more from having that money spent on something that will improve their life than I can, when this is something that I should be able to tackle on my own. I think I've gone off on a tangent. But yeah, you're not alone, and I'm quite willing to help if I can, but all I can really suggest is do a lot of reading. And if you start to Google Mounjaro on YouTube, search it on YouTube or on TikTok or Instagram, you'll find a huge number of people who are having this experience and are willing to share. My next question is from Kim Astin. Hi Kim. She says, morning Caroline, but she means me, because I lost 3 stone last year, but I'm back to overeating and I've tried to calorie count and the weight is coming back on. I've thought about the Mounjaro. Do you have to keep it in the fridge or do you just leave it in the box? I would like to try it, but I don't want my family to know and I'd have to justify myself. If it can be left out the fridge, I can keep it in my room. That sounds sad, I know, but I don't want the nagging from other family members. I'm very pleased for you. It's a strange thing. When it arrives, it's a chilled delivery. It arrives with ice packs and whatever, and you have to keep it in the fridge until you start the pen. But once you've started the pen, it says in the instructions that it no longer has to be refrigerated. So I'm not entirely sure why that is, but once you have started the pen, you don't have to keep it in the fridge. With that said, I've got a little mini fridge in my room and that's where it lives. Although it doesn't have to be refrigerated, I keep it in the fridge because I'm more comfortable with it being there. I've seen people who say they keep it at the back of the veg drawer because nobody looks there. I understand about feeling that family members will be judgmental. I do understand that, but I don't quite know the way around that apart from saying to people, this is my body, my business. But yeah, it doesn't have to be kept in the fridge after it's open, apparently, and I couldn't explain to you why. No idea. Okay, I've got a question from Lynn Bain, and she says, well done, Carla. I need to lose about 7 stone. I've tried lots of different diets. How can I get Mounjaro? You can only get it, to my knowledge at the moment, either through your doctor if you have diabetes, I believe it can be prescribed. It can be prescribed for weight loss for diabetes sufferers, I believe. Although, as I said, I believe different health areas work differently. What do they call them when they break the country up into various health authorities? That's it. Or you get it by a private prescription online. It does have to be prescribed for you. You can't just buy it. You can't just go to a website, put your money in and go and have that. You have to put in for your private prescription. You have to be assessed by a clinician to get it. So there are lots and lots of different suppliers, and all I can suggest is that you have a look. I think there's a website that compares all the prices, although I can't think what it's called off the top of my head. So yeah, there's lots of different suppliers and there's lots of different discount codes available. So everybody who goes on to Mounjaro seems to be given a discount code by their supplier. My current supplier, I think, is much better than my first one, where I really do. I'm much more impressed with them already. They have already given me a lot more follow-up. They're in contact a lot more often. They're asking how things are going. And I feel a lot more comfortable with them. So I think the answer is do a lot of research and make sure that you go with a supplier that people are saying good things about. I just wanted to pull this one up very quickly, although it's not strictly a question. Tracy Owers says, I'm so sorry you felt you had to make this video. Hope all goes well for you. I didn't really feel I had to. I felt that I was ready to. So whilst I appreciate the sentiment, I just think I felt that I was ready to share. I wasn't ready to share before, and I felt that I was ready to share now. And I'm never happy tiptoeing around a subject. I'm never happy with any kind of secret, really. Sorry, I thought somebody was pulling on my driveway and I've just realised it's a reflection of the driveway across the road. I was like, who's pulling my driveway? My car's there. It's the reflection in the window. Yeah, I didn't feel like I had to make the video, just felt like I was ready to. And I'm never happy trying not to mention anything. I'm always a bit uncomfortable with that. Okay, so I've got a question from Teresa McQueen. She says, hi Carla, I appreciate your honesty and courage to share this part of your life. My question is, how does one come off Mounjaro once you've hit your goal weight, or do you? I've been told you must continue using it as a maintenance dosage indefinitely. Is that correct? In all honesty, I don't know whether you have to carry on forever. I'm sure you don't have to. You don't have to do anything, do you? I would hope that I wouldn't need to carry on using it forever. If so, I would guess that you would titrate back down through the levels. As I said in my first video, you start at 2.5, you go up to 5, and then after that you've got 7.5 and 10 and 12.5 and 15 is the highest. And I'm guessing that after you lose your weight, you would titrate back down and maybe end up at a 5 as a maintenance, because a 2.5 isn't really supposed to do anything. It's only supposed to introduce your body to the drug, or introduce the drug to your body. It's really the 2.5 dose that you have for the first 4 weeks is for your body to just get used to the idea rather than shock it with the 5 straight away. So it's an entrance kind of examination, I suppose. So I guess that you would go down to 5 and maintain there. I must be honest, I didn't research it that far, because I think when I first started, I didn't necessarily hold out hopes that it would work. I think I believed that nothing was ever going to work ever again, you know. So yeah, I'm hoping that I won't have to be on it forever. But if I do, then so be it. I hope not. I hope not. I hope it certainly has retrained some of my eating habits. I'll cover that because that's going to be the answer to another question in a bit. So I'll come back to that in a second. Okay, here's another one that isn't strictly a question. It's more of a statement that I wanted to mention. So the username is mecf4bg. And they say, I think YouTubers would need to be honest if their content was about weight loss and they were using the weight loss jab, because they are influencers, so they do have responsibility. Absolutely, 100%. In my first video, I mentioned Rox from Lad Baby wife Rox. And I said that people had demanded to know whether she was using weight loss drugs, and that they'd said they had a right to know. In that instance, I would like to reiterate that Rox at no point made a fuss about her weight loss. She wasn't promoting her weight loss in any way. She wasn't saying that she'd done it a certain way. She wasn't even talking about her weight loss. She had simply lost a lot of weight. Occasionally you would see her in the gym, because she certainly has been working out a lot. And I still don't know for sure whether or not she used the weight loss injections. I saw that somebody said that she had, but I didn't see that myself, so I'm only going by what I've read online. My point was that you don't have the right to demand to know these things. But I absolutely agree with this, that if somebody is promoting their weight loss and saying, look how well I've done, then they absolutely need to be 100% honest about how they've done it. You can't go, look how clever I am. I've lost 7 stone. Aren't I wonderful? I did it by eating carrot sticks and running 8 miles a day, if you actually did it by using Mounjaro. I absolutely agree with you, especially anyone who is in the influencer ballpark. They need to be very honest about anything like that, 100%. A couple of people said that I didn't need to justify myself. I hope you don't think that's what I was doing. I wasn't justifying my reasons. I was purely explaining where I am in my life right now. Where I am in my life right now is very uncomfortable on the edge of the bed. So Estelle Allen has said, thank you for doing this. Could you let me know where you are getting it now, so that I wouldn't fall foul of a poor supplier if I did want to go down this route? I think that's an odd way of phrasing it, because if you don't want to know, if it's the poor supplier you want to avoid, then I'm quite happy to tell you which one I wasn't impressed with, and that was Zava. My current supplier is MedExpress, and as I said, I do think they've done a much better job. I'm much happy with them. So there's a message here from Joni Schoenfeld, and she says, I so appreciate you sharing about the Mounjaro, starting on Ozempic. I've been on it for over 3 months and I haven't shared this fact with anyone. I too have had bathroom issues. Fibre pills and stool softeners are the norm nowadays. I started at the 2.5 mg dose and have advanced to 5. I felt nothing at all at the 2.5 dosage. I'm a binge eater and still feel tempted at times, but not to the point that I give in. A lot of people don't feel anything at 2.5, but as I said earlier on, you're not really meant to. It's supposed to introduce the drug to your body. 5 is where the effects are supposed to kick in. And her question is, I'm curious if you've had any cramping in your legs. I haven't noticed any more cramping than I normally have anyway. My legs have been my bête noire for a long time now. They hurt most of the time. My legs, I would say, are between a 5 and an 8 on the pain scale. 5 is the best they ever get. And I haven't noticed more cramping than I've ever had before in that way. Definitely not, no. I don't think Mounjaro has caused any additional cramps in my legs. So here's my friend Heather, the treasure pirate, and she says, good for you. No one has the right to know all your personal details. Happy that things are going so well. Just a bit surprised that you couldn't get an NHS prescription, but that seems to be the way of things at the moment. As I said, different health authorities have different rules on what they will and won't prescribe. And although this has now, I believe, been released on the NHS, I think because there's going to be such a high demand for it, I think there's going to be an awful lot of criteria that doctors are going to have to tick off before they'll be willing to prescribe it. I think it's probably going to be harder to get it on the NHS, purely because there's going to be such huge demand, and obviously it's a costly thing. So Rosie Foster has said, I thought Mounjaro was tirzepatide, Carla. She's right. When I said in the first video, I said to you Mounjaro was semaglutide, and I was very much under the impression it was, but it's not, it's tirzepatide, and apparently they work slightly differently. I did look this up, and now I can't remember what I found out. Bear with. Okay, so this is an AI answer. Tirzepatide and semaglutide are both injectable drugs that can help with weight loss and blood sugar management. They work by increasing insulin secretion and slowing down the stomach's emptying of food. However, they differ in how they work, their onset time and their potential side effects. Tirzepatide is a dual agonist that acts on both GLP-1 and GIP receptors. This dual action can make it more effective at lowering blood sugar and promoting weight loss. So tirzepatide is what Mounjaro is. Semaglutide is a GLP-1 receptor agonist that mimics a hormone that regulates appetite and blood sugar. Tirzepatide starts working immediately on a molecular level, but it may take a few weeks to see weight loss results. Semaglutide typically takes about 2 weeks to start working, but some people may see results within 8 weeks. The side effects. Both can cause gastrointestinal side effects like nausea, vomiting and diarrhea. Tirzepatide may cause more serious side effects than semaglutide. Brand name, Tirzepatide is sold under the brand name Mounjaro. Semaglutide is sold under the brand name Wegovy. There we go. So I apologise, I did misinform you. It's not semaglutide, it's tirzepatide. I do apologise and thank you for pointing that out. So Julia Jones has said, Carla, I'm very interested in hearing this as I've been considering getting it myself. I am of a very similar size to yourself now, and I'm just so fed up of being trapped, stroke, hindered by my body. But I'm also very wary of after effects or what happens when you stop it. My weight has really lessened my desire to do any exercise other than walking in everyday life that is necessary. I used to swim as it was not weight bearing, so it was better for me as I have an ankle held together with metal inside from a previous bad break. I'm considering the injections, but I'm just not sure your experience info on this will be what I want to hear. I do think, as I said before, your mileage may vary, so I'd be please do a lot of research, but not just you, Julia, but anyone. Please do a lot of research before you do this. Please don't just go, oh, Carla's doing it, so it must be okay, because I did a lot of research and it's what's right for me, but it may not be right for anyone else. Like I can't sit here and advise you to do what I did, can I? Okay. Julie Rendell says, it's sad that you have to explain your entire life to people. It's nobody's business what you do. I don't feel like I have to explain it, I guess, but I'd rather be open about stuff. Thank you for telling us. I'm on Mounjaro as well. Can I ask, does the price go up when the dose does? Because mine does. Yes, the price goes up. I think that's with every single supplier. The price goes up with the increase of the dose. At the end of the day, you are receiving double the amount of the active ingredient. So I guess that's why the price increases. The price doesn't double with every dose, but the price goes up with every dose. So that's something that I have to bear in mind, is that the longer I'm on it, if I need a higher dose, the more expensive it will be. And that's whether or not I can maintain the cost of this. I don't know. I don't know yet. We'll wait and see. And Carolyn Hopkinson is also saying, perhaps you could tell us how much it costs and is it different for the different doses? My first pen, I think, was £140, and then I had a discount code for the next pen, and so that brought it down to £100. A discount code saved £40, so that brought it down. And whether or not I'll get another discount again, I don't know, but as the doses go up, the price will go up. And lots of places have different pricing. There's not a huge amount of different pricing. It's not as if you can go, oh, we know it's £140 from X place, but Z place have got it for 10 quid. That, you know, there's not that much variation, but there are different prices at different places, and there are many, many discount codes available. So you can, if you want, move from one supplier to another to maintain being able to use discounts, because obviously the discounts are only ever for new users. I personally feel that having found a supplier I'm happy with, I will stay with them for as long as I'm happy, even if that does mean swallowing a price increase because I can't use discount codes. I think I'll be happy knowing that I am with people who have my history on hand, and like I said, that I'm happy with the service they provide. This is the question that I said I'd come back to earlier on, because I remembered this was here. It's from CA7439. They say, it's a really interesting video. I wondered, when you stopped the Mounjaro, did you bounce straight back to your old ways? I mean, did the effect wear off completely? It did not. It did not. This was something that really boosted my spirits. So I stopped taking the Mounjaro some point in November. I think it was around about the 11th. I think it was around about the 11th that I went, I'm going to have to stop because my body needs to regroup and get itself sorted. I think it was around about the 11th of November, and I went all the way through the rest of November and over Christmas, and at no point did my appetite go back to what it was before. I didn't think about food as much. I was less indulgent over Christmas. The only indulgence that I found myself falling back into was that I was given a tin of Quality Street, and the mistake I made was bringing them upstairs and having them by the bed, and so I sat here in the evenings and I'd have a few out of there and then I'd have a couple more. But I did notice that I knew when I'd overdone it. Now, old pre-calorie counting, pre-giving a shit me, didn't know. I didn't know when I'd had enough, or if I did, I kept on going through. I would go on through the had enough barrier until I was like, I've overdone it now. And since beginning Mounjaro, and even during the gap when I wasn't using the Mounjaro, the physical barriers are still there, and I could feel them. I could feel that, oh no, you need to stop that. You're not enjoying this. So yeah, definitely not all of the effects wore off. I only had about a 6-week break, so who knows how long it would have taken for me to fall back into my old ways. I don't know whether I ever would have done, but no, it didn't. I certainly didn't immediately bounce back to how things used to be. I think this is going to be a very long video. So Jenster's question is, do you have to originally go to the doctors to get these injections, or can you get them elsewhere? They sound like something I'd like to look into. You can go through your doctor, but like I said, you can't get them on the NHS, and most doctors aren't really, I don't know what happens if you have a private doctor. I have no idea what happens there at all, but when you get them online, you are getting a private prescription. As I said at the beginning of the video, you're not just buying it, you are applying to have it prescribed to you. So it is doctors who are dealing with you. Each individual supplier has medical staff, and those are who it is. So it is going to a doctor, it's just not going to your own doctor. I thought I'd read this one out as it's important to alert other people of pitfalls that they could find. So Allegra11 says, I tried Wegovy, which is this semaglutide, as we were saying a minute ago, but came out in terrible hives all over my body. I was advised by my doctor to stop as it showed I was allergic to it and could develop anaphylaxis. I was gutted as apart from the hives I had no side effects whatsoever. My appetite was reduced from day one. I'm successfully calorie counting at the moment, but I haven't discounted trying Mounjaro if the hunger wins. I just don't know if because I'm allergic to Wegovy I'm allergic to Mounjaro too. I don't know either. I guess it depends what the active ingredient that you were allergic was, and unless they have told you that, unless they've said this is the active ingredient that we believe you reacted to, then I don't know. And obviously I'm not advising. I'm just but yeah, I just thought it was important to read that one out for people, because a lot of people said, oh, I'd like to know what are the possible side effects. So there you go. For this person who tried Wegovy, one of the side effects was an awful rash and possible anaphylaxis. Claire Cadman is saying, thank you for sharing your story and experience. I'm about to start and just looking who to go with. Can you recommend a company? I'm with MedExpress at the moment and I'm quite happy with them. Eliza James says, I really want to try it, but I have gallstones and IBS and I'm scared, lol. Please do discuss it with your doctor first. If you have these ongoing issues that presumably your doctor is aware of, please do discuss it with your doctor first and find out if it's something that works for people who have your issues. Please do all your research. And here's Mandy Thomas, and she's saying, well done on your weight loss journey and sharing your journey with us. Could you share who you buy from? As I'm thinking of trying weight loss injections, I'd be grateful of any advice on which company would be best. I've been looking at MedExpress, but would rather use someone that is recommended. If you choose not to, I'll totally understand. MedExpress is who I'm with and I'm happy with them at the moment. Audrey Smith, and a lot of letters and numbers after it, says, what happens when you finally come off them? Does your appetite come back and maybe the weight returns? Wishing you well. I hope not. I hope the weight won't return. It didn't all return in the 6 weeks gap I had. I regained the bit that I'd lost during the drastic 2 weeks when I was very, very unwell. That bit came back, but I was quite glad about that because I didn't feel like it was a good idea to have lost a stone in a fortnight. But yeah, the rest of the weight didn't come back, and I'm hoping it won't. I'm hoping I'll be able to maintain. I don't know. I can't see the future. I didn't think I'd regain when I lost 7.5 stone calorie counting. I didn't think I'd regain that, and it was surprising how easy it went back on, so I hope not. So there's a comment from Sam George Sunny, and there's a reply that I've included as well. So Sam says, hi Carla, just thought of a couple of things I've wondered about these injections. Is it expensive? And presumably you need to stay on them for life or the weight will go back on. So my answer to that is yes, it is expensive. There's no world in which I can pretend that over £100 a month is not expensive. I wish that was a negligible amount to me, but it's not, and it's not to millions of other people. So yes, it is expensive. It is less expensive than eating out. When I'm using Mounjaro, we don't eat out. At one point we ate out probably 4 or 5 times a week. We'd maybe have restaurant meals a couple of times a week, and then we might have a takeaway, and then I'd go to Greg's or we'd go to McDonald's for breakfast. We don't do any of that anymore. Compared to what I was spending on eating out and so on and so forth, it's a lot cheaper. If you're not a person who does those things, then you're not going to save that money. But a lot of people say they save a lot of money on alcohol, for example, because although you can drink, there's no contraindications that say that you can't drink. A lot of people say they don't want to, they don't feel the urge. So I think, although it is expensive, it covers itself really. And then the second part of her comment is, and presumably you need to stay on them for life or the weight will go back on. Well, I think we've covered that already. I hope not. But the reply from Sarah Holland is, all the ads I've seen from Mounjaro Estate is around £140 a month, and yes, stop doing it and the weight goes back on. Nausea is a common side effect too. Whilst I appreciate Sarah's input, I don't think it's going to be a blanket response like that. I don't think it's going to be, yes, stop doing it and the weight goes back on. Some people are going to learn new habits through this. Some people are not going to put their weight back on. Some people are going to go back to their old ways. I think that's just, that's to be expected. That some people are. I think it depends on how you are approaching it. If you are looking at it as this is going to be the answer and I won't have to do any work, then you're probably not going to be very successful, because you do also still have to put the effort in. It's not magic. It doesn't just make you thin. you have to make you thinner. A quick question from Jane Barrow. She says, thank you for such an informative video. I hope you continue being successful. Have you noticed any decrease in aches and pains? Best wishes. Not really, not yet, but I'm still very overweight. I'm still putting a huge strain on these poor old knees and this poor old body. And also some of the things that cause my aches and pains won't go away just through weight loss. So I've got arthritis, that won't go. You know, getting thinner should help it, but it won't go away. I've got sciatica. I don't think being thinner will stop me having sciatica. And I've got lipedema in my legs, and these legs could stay this size regardless of how much weight I lose, and that's astonishingly disappointing but true. And lipedema legs are painful. They hurt when you press them. They hurt when I can't lean on anything. They hurt all the time. So sadly, no, as yet we are not pain-free, but who knows, maybe I'll be a robot one day. Ali5119 says, I'd love to know the prices, please. Good luck on your journey. Sounds like you've done so much research, which is great, and take care of yourselves. As with anything these days, we don't know the long-term effects yet, I don't think. And that's true. However, this drug is not new. This drug has been in use for many, 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 many years. It's just that it's only recently been approved for weight loss. So I feel like they do probably know the side effects of this drug on the body. And funnily enough, when this drug was being used for other things, then weight loss was a side effect. So I'm not too worried. I mean, I obviously everybody reacts differently. But yeah, it's not a new drug. I think this is one of the things that a lot of people are mistaken in thinking, that this is a new drug. It's not a new drug. It's just been approved recently for new reasons. Victoria Hayworth says, such a frank, honest vlog, Carla. Thank you for sharing. I watch anything you post. Thank you. Could I ask if you or any of your viewers have had indigestion or heartburn as a result of taking Mounjaro? Oh yes, me, and some of the people in the comments as well. But yes, so much heartburn. The first time round, the first time I took it, so much heartburn. I was buying Rennies by the bucket load. This time round, no. This time round, no. However, this time round, I started with those peppermint oil capsules that I mentioned in the last vlog. I started with those from the moment I started taking the jab, and I believe they have helped. I believe they are working as a preventative, whereas the Rennies were just not even a cure. Rennies were just a pacifier. They weren't curing it. But yeah, horrendous heartburn the first time round, and not this time. I pulled this one up to respond to, even though it's not strictly speaking a question. Tracy4FE says, I am not a fan of these types of help for weight loss, as I don't think enough research has been done for long-term effects with the drug. A friend of mine was taken seriously ill taking this drug and was hospitalised for 3 weeks. She now does not take any form of weight loss injections, but is in therapy for her food addictions and is doing really well, thankfully. Eating disorders, binge, grazing are all connected to how your brain sees food, etc. Having enough discipline to know I don't need that, I am not hungry, or instead of that full-fat creamy cake, I will have some fruit, etc. I wish you well on your journey, but please take care moving forward. Thank you for your good wishes. I was never hungry. I was never hungry, and I knew I wasn't hungry. I didn't eat because I was hungry, and I could have told myself I wasn't hungry until the cows come home. I wasn't eating for satiation purposes. I was eating for comfort, and I have never received any comfort from a piece of fruit. I was treating the inner me. I was rewarding and comforting and soothing the inner me with food. I wasn't hungry. I knew I wasn't hungry. It's not about having the discipline to know you are not hungry. It is about being strong enough to not make yourself feel better. It is about being strong enough to go, I'm not going to make myself feel better that way. And when you want to feel better from whatever it is, it's very hard to say no to yourself. Comment from the menopausal grandma says, well done on the weight loss, that's amazing. Can I ask if you were scared to try it? I'd love to take it, but I'm a real baby about new medications because I'm pre-diabetic, rising blood pressure, and God knows what other medical problems, probably all caused by my weight. Again, do your research, talk to your doctor if you think that will help. But the specific question, was I scared to try it? Yeah, but I was more scared about the actual needle. I was more scared about jabbing myself with the actual needle than I was about the effects that it might have. I wasn't that scared about what it might do to me. I was more excited about what it was going to do for me. A very quick one from Amy Collins. Can't you get it from the doctor? Nope, you can't just get it from your doctor at the moment. You have to get it from the weight loss referral service. And as I said earlier in the video, 3 years and 3 years and counting so far to even speak to someone at the weight loss service. I haven't even had an appointment to talk to me about it. So 3 years, 3 years in which case, in which I didn't lose any weight. And if anything, I gained some. So when I first went to the doctor, I had lost 7.5 stone and my weight loss had stalled. And I think I'd regained about 1/2 stone at that point. And I went to the doctor and I said, please help me. Please help me because I lost all this weight and I can feel that I've lost my way with it and I'm worried it's going to go back on. Please help me. And she said, I'll refer you to the weight loss service. And that was 3 years ago. And in those 3 years, I regained 4 or 5 stone because the queue is so long. Okay, Chris Griffiths. Hi, Chris. Thank you so much, Carla, for being transparent on the problems of taking Mounjaro. I have thought about this for months as I'm 3 stone overweight and can't lose it with thyroid disease. Like you, I won for a while on calorie counting, but got sick of it. The cost must be offset with the snacks you don't buy and the meals out you don't have, surely, indeed, yeah. So I asked my GP. What I got was, don't think you won't get serious pancreatic problems just because you had your gallbladder out. So where do you go with that one? What's your take on the risks of this new drug? I couldn't carry on the way I was going to end up. I started to worry that I would have a heart attack. I started to worry that I would drop dead just trying to climb the stairs or something, you know. I couldn't carry on. All medication has some kind of risk attached. I could have gone for surgery and look at the risks of that. I could have died under the anaesthetic, who knows. If I need any surgery, they'll be very reluctant to give it to me while I'm this size, so I can end up dying of something else that I didn't get looked at because I'm this size. Additionally, when you go to the doctor at this size, a lot of things is blamed on your weight, regardless of what might be wrong. So something could be overlooked because I am fat, and they go, well, if you lose weight, it'll go away. Yes, there are obviously risks with everything, but I was willing to take them, I think is the best I can give you that. I was willing to take the risk. Ray5072 says, Carla, I have lipedema and I was wondering how you found it because I'm 60 years old and I feel challenged. I feel challenged all the time. I don't think age is, I don't think that's just your age, love. I feel challenged constantly. It hasn't made any difference to my legs yet. In all honesty, the weight loss has not made any difference to my legs. But then when I lost 7.5 stone, it didn't make any difference to my legs. They didn't get any smaller from the knees down. They got very smaller at the thighs because that's not where I carry my lipedema issues. But they didn't get any smaller from the knees down when I lost the weight before. So Lord knows how much weight I'd have to lose before I saw any difference there, to be honest. That's not very helpful, is it? But it's all I've got. So there's 3 questions in a row here from Star. Hi, Star. She says, thank you for talking to us. Do we have to get permission from our doctor to start jabs? You don't have to get permission from your doctor to do anything, but you do have to have it prescribed by a doctor. So not necessarily your own doctor. As I said, when you go to one of these websites, you have to get a prescription. And I have heard conflicting reports about whether they inform your doctor that you're taking out. They do say that you should inform your doctor. So every website I looked at says, please inform your doctor that you're taking this. So I mentioned it to my doctor and they didn't seem particularly interested. But also somebody else I noticed on a group chat the other day said that she had looked at her NHS records. You can look at it in the NHS app, and she'd seen that her supplier had notified her doctor. I tried to look at my records on the NHS app and it said, this is not supported. Please contact your surgery. So that part I don't know. Star's other questions are, as the milligrams goes up, do you have to pay more? Yes, you do. As I said earlier on, it gets more expensive for the higher doses. And she asks what supplier, and as I've said, my supplier is MedExpress. Okay, I have a comment from Susan Gower. She says, thank you so much for sharing your experience so far. I really appreciate it. I'm so tempted to try it myself. Very best wishes for your ongoing journey. Can I ask, did you measure your blood pressure and cholesterol levels before you started? And if so, have they improved? I did not. I have never had blood pressure issues and I've never had problems with my cholesterol. It always used to really annoy the doctors whenever I went for anything else and they'd say, oh, well, you're very overweight. Let me just do your blood pressure. And there'd always be this silence where they're, oh, your blood pressure's fine. Always has been. I've always been very lucky with my blood pressure and I've never had problems with my cholesterol. So I didn't measure them and I have no idea whether they've changed now or not. This comment goes back to what we were talking about earlier on. It's from Angela Henry and she says, I love your channel, but I would be disappointed to think that somebody had lost their weight by using a drug and not saying. Maybe if weight wasn't the topic, then okay, I'd understand. But if weight loss is the topic, then I'd like the honesty. Only as it can help others that might be wanting to try it but are too scared. All I can say to that is my channel is not a weight loss channel. At one point I was updating people as to my weight loss, but it's not a weight loss channel. It was never intended that way. And as I said earlier on in this video, by all means, if you are promoting your weight loss to others, then you must be honest about how you achieved it. Absolutely. But if your channel is shopping hauls and going out to Costco and going to car boot sales, then you're not obliged to tell anyone. I just chose to. I have a comment from Sue Warren and she says, hello, new subscriber here. Thank you, Sue. I'm thinking of using these jabs. I've been offered them last year by my diabetic nurse to get my HB1C numbers down. I've read a lot. I've had chats with nurse. A friend at work is on them, so I've been asking her about it all. Could I ask you, what food can you have? Do you just eat little and often, or do you forget to eat? I'm worried in case I don't feel, and then it just stops. The comment just stops and there's no further bit. I'm worried in case I don't feel hungry, I guess is what she was going to say. So what food can you have? You can have, in my experience, there isn't anything I can't eat, although a lot of people in the various chat groups that I've looked at have said that they suffer if they eat spicy food, or if they eat food that is too rich or too fatty, that their stomach revolts against them. So I would say that each individual is going to have their own experience of that. But I haven't eaten anything that I would say has blatantly disagreed with me, except that one curry, and I still don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was the curry that was at fault or what. I honestly don't know. I just know that I wouldn't necessarily have another one of those curries having had that experience. She says, do you just eat little and often, or do you forget to eat? I don't eat little and often. Little and often was what got me fat. Grazing all day was what got me fat. I don't eat little and often. I don't often bother with breakfast anymore because I'm not hungry in the mornings. I wake up in the morning and I take the fibre gummies that I told you guys about, and the My Journey tablets, and I take my peppermint capsule, and I take my turmeric for my joints, which I have no idea if it's making any difference or not, but I believe in it and I'm trying. And I drink a lot more. A lot of the comments we talked about water intake. So again, the comment above this one from Zoe B says, just to mention, when I added fibre to my diet and did not increase water intake, it made me more plugged up. That's a big thing. I have really had to nail my fluid intake, which, as you know, if you've been around this channel for a while, has always been my problem, is that I only drink Pepsi Max. I don't drink tea or coffee. I'm not very fond of water. I got myself a couple of those big stainless steel insulated cups, and I have done so much better with my fluids because I know it makes a difference to constipation and stuff like that. I have done so much better with that. I'm still not great at drinking later on in the day because I don't want to spend all night running to the loo, but yeah, fluid is a major one. If you are going to take fibre tablets, you need more fluid to help everything flow. But yeah, so going back to Sue's comment, do you eat little and often, or do you forget to eat? I don't eat little and often. I don't often eat breakfast anymore. I usually eat something for lunch, but sometimes I don't eat that lunch until about 2 o'clock because I wouldn't say I forget to eat. It's just that I haven't got around to thinking about it. Does that make sense? I don't look at the clock at 2 o'clock and go, oh God, I forgot to eat, but I do sometimes look at the clock and go, oh, 2 o'clock, I'll have some food now. So, and then I usually have an evening meal, but I'm not snacking the way I used to. The snacking is gone, the grazing is gone. Oh, I've got to the top. The last one that I can see here is Christine Hoyland. She says, well done, I appreciate the information you've given as I've been considering it. However, I'm on a lot of medication for various illnesses, so I'm not sure if it's for me. As I've said so many times in this video, do your research, consult your doctor, talk to people. Don't just go, I'm going to give that a go. There are ups and downs to this, and I don't know what the long-term prognosis is. I don't know whether it's going to be the solution to all my problems and I'm going to go into a ripe old age with a smaller body. I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know. All I know is at the moment it seems to be working okay and I'm happy with it. I'm recording this on the 5th of February. On the scales this morning, I was £10 down since the 5th of January. So I had already lost a bit of previous weight in the previous run, and then since I restarted on the 5th of January, I've lost £10 in 4 weeks, so I'm perfectly happy with that. That is far better than I was doing just calorie counting alone, so I'm quite happy with that. And I shall keep going. This has probably turned into a very long video. I've stopped and started so many times because I've been stopping while I look for comments and stuff. So I'm not sure how long it's going to be. But if you've made it through, thank you so much for sitting here with me while I talked about this stuff. If you did ask me a question, I hope I've covered it. I didn't read out all of the duplicate questions, but hopefully that you had your answer. Even if it wasn't your question that popped up on screen, I hope I've answered it for you if it was a duplicate of somebody else's. And I don't think I've got anything else to say. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye for now.